I saw a video. Well, to be honest, I have seen millions of videos. Yet only every once in a while, as I'm scrolling faster and faster and all these videos become a blur of pixels, will one stand out? TikTok has always been fascinating personally to me because I never knew what type of content to exactly make for the app, whether I should be funnier or more serious than I am on YouTube. Yet, there are people who have found their niche and their audience while making fashion-related TikToks. And scrolling through my phone, I found one of these accounts. And in particular, this one video sparked my mind with a lot of thought.
From 01 to 05, Raf had one of the most unbelievable runs ever. Like starting with Riot, and then Consume, and then the May the Circle Be Unbroken show. But after that, it kind of just like drops off. And then the shows become like way less interesting. I just don't understand how he went from looks that look like this to this damn near instantly.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another beautiful video. So what happened to Raf Simons? Or more importantly, did anything happen at all?
And we don't like federal agents.
I am obsessed. And that certainly is not the first time I've said that on my channel, yet this time it doesn't have to do with fashion. There is a genre of media that I am an extreme fan of. I am obsessed with the culture of ARGs, liminal spaces, the back rooms, all of it just piques my imagination. I have spent so many hours watching videos on a project that has been done or just about new stuff in general in this sort of subculture of the internet. So yeah, to say the least, I am obsessed. Yet I don't exactly know what captivated me with this exact media and its weird, creepy art style. Just look at something like this and tell me you aren't terrified of this image or place, but also at the same time, maybe even more interested, because it seems so familiar. ARG culture within the internet we have today truly is amazing. And as the previous image I showed you, my absolute favorite has to be the idea of liminal spaces. These sets of images and videos which can only be described as deja vu inducing. But not a recent deja vu, like a very, very distant in your past type of deja vu. A type of deja vu so strong and strange that it will take you and your senses back years to when you felt like the emotion the image is giving off. Practically to when you would have been a child. Raf Simons grew up in the 70s and had most of his teenage years around the 1980s. One important side note is this wasn't the American 80s, but the Belgian. Raves, destruction, lust, drugs, anarchy. A funny thing happens when you start aging. You often forget. Of course, you aren't just forgetting small things like, where is my spring summer 20 Rick Owens easy choker necklace? But you also start forgetting feelings and places too. Quickly, you try to bring back these feelings, or at least salvage them in some way to go back to these places and feel as happy as you did when you were growing up. By 1995, Raf Simons was a little over 7-8 years past his teenage age, and he, in my opinion, was desperately trying to regain them. Autumn Winter 97, Spring Summer 98, Autumn Winter 98, Spring Summer 99, Autumn Winter 99, spring, summer 2000, autumn, winter 2000. Everything in his career was leading up to this exact moment. And then it happened. Riot. Autumn, winter 2001 was his most accomplished show of his career at that point. And most people who know Raf Simons will say to this day that it is still one of his best shows ever. Taking all the ideas he had used that represented his childhood so far, he pushed everything a step forward and truly paved the way for modern fashion. The show really did embody his teenage years, and for someone who wanted those years back so desperately, this was it. The concept of familiarity is very bizarre because it's usually seen as a good thing. But what's interesting is usually familiarity has to do with consistency. Why would that be a bad thing though? Consistency breeds comfort, and after a bit, comfort breeds pain. Many people live today with this sort of comfort that truly can be turned into the word pain, and it's all because it's what's been consistent with their past. And pain for many more is seen as a familiarity. Drugs, raves, anarchy, lust, none of those cultural activities are healthy. A lot of them will cause great harm later in life, and they all leave scars. Yet the thought of leaving this comfort and familiarity is so absurd that we don't. And we continue to live the same every day. The deja vu that liminal spaces bring to me, at least, is very connected to my early childhood. And a lot of the core memories and events that have happened in my life hadn't happened yet at the age that I was when I get transported in these images. Thus, I see it as comfort, I see it as familiarity. That's what's funny though, because these images still scare me. And I look at what scares me, and I connect it with familiarity and my youth. I associate it with a time I would go back to only if I could, but they terrify me when I look at them. When I look at these images, they represent pain. They are pain, and thus I am pain. My past is pain, because nothing can change the past, and the future just seems so, which is even scarier. So I live in the past. 10 years after starting his brand and 4 years after Riot, Raf Simons and his brand changed. More now than ever, he was focused on structure and detail of the clothing. It was as if Raf Simons, after all these years, had grown up. No longer was he holding on to his past, this past that brought him so many bright ideas, but most definitely held him back in knowing who he was, in achieving happiness. By losing what was familiar, everything he knew about his youth, which was growing up in Belgium in the 80s, he matured by letting it go. I have moved many times in my life, and a lot of these moves were not small, but usually across the entire world, and even more important, they're all at very pivotal stages of my life. So as I became a teenager, and then became an adult, I not only had to grow up, but I left everyone and everything behind that I knew. And thus, as a result, I hung on to a great amount of pain from my past. And the reason for this was because it was the only consistency I knew throughout my life. Pain. Familiarity. This useless pain, which was my comfort, ended up being my home. Yet this isn't what I learned from moving. What I did learn is that I can truly know who I am because I had to change so much and leave so much behind, I could see these aspects of me that might have been negative and improve them, and I could take the good things and enforce them and become the best person I could be. This was only done, though, by letting go of my past. Raf Simons might not have had the perfect childhood, but no one has. Raf Simons might have continued to make collections like he used to, but he didn't. Raf Simons might not even know the maturity that he truly achieved, but he most likely does. Raf Simons changed, but definitely not the worst for his brand, and certainly for the best of his mental health. Raf Simons is still as influential as ever, even after losing familiarity. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have an amazing day.